This week, we go inside the Temple of No because Outlast 2 is postponed. At least you can rest easy knowing Humble Codes will be safer from fraud, and we have plenty of No Man's Sky news. Wait, can I say Sky News? Anyway, this is episode 101. 101, that's easier to say, of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot!
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and I am here with Tech.
Hello.
And not Rev, because Rev's job sucks.
Yeah.
If his boss is listening, don't blame Rev. Blame me. Fuck you. Rev is an excellent employee. Just saying.
It's a good thing that we're using the name that I don't think he goes by in the office.
Well, either way.
You might,
You
I don't know.
can't blame Rev for what I say. Just saying. And I didn't even mention the company.
That's true.
Actually, I don't even know the company's name.
I don't know the company either.
Yeah, so, fuck you. Anyway, yeah. This is 101.
He's not here.
We're finally
over the hill.
Back.
We're over the hill.
Finally back to normalcy. The last one that we had that was, quote, normal was 98?
Yeah.
Before...
91 was during IRX.
Before IRX.
100 was last week.
No, 98 was IRX, so it's 97 was the last normal one.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because 99 was IGR recap.
Yeah.
And then 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is finally a normal episode minus Rev. So we're glad to be back to that. Here's to 100 more, as we said last time. And more stupidity, more indie games. Most importantly, we are way far behind on everything right now. So Indie Game Riot bringing you news from 3 weeks ago or more.
Yeah, if you missed it 3 weeks ago, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, actually, I think at least the starting the Riot game has been out for a while, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know about it. But we're going to talk about it because it's excellent. However, Peep Show and Free Fun didn't get a whole lot of attention, so I think it still works. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what else works? Your week.
Us. Yeah.
Maybe. Don't.
Yeah.
Good to be back with bad transitions.
Yeah. Exactly. And usually that's not a place where we screw up. So.
Except all the time.
We'll blame Rev for that one. Just working on projects, really, for real. Coming together, hopefully within the next week or so, we'll actually have the intro for this animation project that Jesse, Josh, and I are working on done. We won't show you anything yet, but I mean it's in the works. I'm really excited about that. That's pretty much. It's so weird because I feel like because Josh and I are also working on another project, but I feel like Josh, you really like that project, right? Like there's like something in that really excites you about it. There are very few projects that I've had that I've felt recently where I'm like, I need to focus on this project. Like IRX and Indie Game Riot as a whole is one of those things that is just like you got to keep doing it. It's like that little, it's like a pin poking you in the back of the brain. It's like, hey, this is a thing. But it's like I'm really feeling that.
Indie Game Riot, like a pin poking you back in the brain.
I'm really feeling that on this project, and it's crazy because it's like I'm having dreams about it, and I'm sitting bored, and it's like, man, I really wish that I could just watch it right now because it's going to be so awesome. I think it's going to be awesome. Other people might not, but
well, that's the world for you.
That's really all the week has been is work on that.
Yeah. So well, speaking of working on projects, many people have probably heard us talk about Secret Project that again Tech and I are working on. Prep, who if he had internet would be working on it, but I was finally, after IRX, I've been able to slowly crawl back into that, although it's still been very busy for me because of things like my son's birthday. He just turned 2,
Congratulations on keeping him from killing himself for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I've done it again somehow. So he just turned 2, and we had a little party for him here, like dinosaur themed, and here's something fun that happened. So like 2 or 3 days ago, I'm sitting here and it was like after midnight, and I just see I forget, I think I'm watching like House of Cards on Netflix,
okay.
And I just see this. By the way, the House of Cards, it was actually the scene where they were playing indie games, Monument Valley and Stanley Parable. So anyway, I see this thing just go whew, like past my eye. It's like it's a brown blur, and I'm thinking like maybe it's a fly that just flew like really close. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I see it again. It's like whew. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's a fucking bat flying around in this room, in the living room. So I'm like leaning back in my chair, like I have this back scratcher right here, and I'm like poking at it, trying to, because it's like dive bombing me and shit, because it's like freaking out and it doesn't know what it, it's not trying to attack me, but it's confused and it's freaking out, flying around. So I'm trying to keep it away from me because they're dirty little bastards.
Yeah.
So I'm like, my wife, I'm like Jerry, like really loud. I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, don't come in here, but don't come in here. But there's a bat. She's like, what? So
I can just imagine your wife's reaction, where you're just like, she's like, oh, what is he up to now? And she's like, there's a bat, and she's like, a what? Excuse me, Josh, what are you doing? What did you fuck up?
There's a bat. So I finally kind of like, because I was afraid to move because it was so sporadic and shit.
Yeah.
So I finally like half crawl my way to the doorway between the living room and our bedroom.
Oh,
and so I'm like, I shut the door and I can hear it like flapping around and like brushes up against the door every so often. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about this, because like the last time I had to deal with a bat, and I didn't even deal with it, but the last time there was a bat in the same room as me was like, and I'm not like particularly afraid of bats, but I just know how dirty they are.
Yeah.
So I basically locked my family into the bathroom like a panic room style type of thing, and I went all like,
you do have a 2-year-old, in the house that is going to be susceptible to all the diseases.
Yeah, and I went in like commando style, just like prepared with weapons and shit. Like I was throwing things through the doorway, trying to knock it down. And finally, I guess it gets tired, and it like hangs on our ceiling because it's like drop tiles.
Mm-hmm.
And it hangs on the ceiling over by the wall where a bunch of furniture's at, so I can't even, and we have high ceilings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know what
them.
you're talking about.
So it's like sitting there, and I can't get it. I was trying, I had a towel, I was going to try and like cover it and like wrap it up, throw it outside, but I couldn't get it. So what I ended up having to do is getting a broom. First I had to open up all, like, both windows in the living room, like screens and all, and I got a broom, and I had to like pump myself up. I was like, I was like stalling and shit, talking to my wife. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I went in there with the broom, and I had something in my other hand too, to like using as a shield. And I went up and just whack, like off the wall, and it starts freaking out again, flying around the room. And I quickly abandoned the shield idea because I needed both hands for the broom.
Right.
And I was basically like standing up against the wall, like just jabbing at it with the broom, trying to whack it out of the air. And this is going on for like an hour. I was so out of breath. I was sweating. It was like 3 in the morning, and I was like, my wife could hear me, and I was like, "Come on, you fucker! Come on!" Like I was just yelling at it and shit.
Oh my God.
I was like, "Bring it! Get the fuck out of here!"
Now, did you think about like trying to like take a sacrificial sheet and like throw it over the bat?
Well, I was trying to do that
some way, and then put the sheet out the window or something.
Well, that's what I was trying to do in the first place, but
right.
It's flying around. It's hard to hit it. And then when it was up on the ceiling, there's no way for me to get it because it was up against the wall, like hanging from the ceiling. So I was just playing. I was batter up, with the bat, jabbing at it, and anytime I could get a good hit on it, and I was able to get like 3 good hits over the course of the whole time. I brushed it against several times, but the first time I felt really bad because they're pretty fragile, their bones and stuff like that, and I didn't want to hurt it, but I smacked it. And it was like up against the wall, like whack. Oh. And I could see it like it was probably pissed at this point, as well as scared, and it like crawled up like a horror movie monster over the couch because I hit it and fell behind the couch, and it like crawled up over the couch cushion like in the top and like was like looking at me, and it flew around again and it decided to hang up again because it was tired, but I was like, you got to get the fuck out of here, and I hit it, and finally what ended up happening after the whole time is I was able to just get like one good like home run shot. I was like, whack, because it wouldn't go fly low enough to go out the window on its own. Right. So I was just like, whack, line drive into the windowsill, and it was still alive and it didn't seem hurt. But I was finally like, it was on the windowsill next to the open window, and I finally was like able to jab it so that it would fly out. So that was a whole ordeal.
That's crazy.
And good times. That was probably the most exciting week event that I've had to talk about in a long time, if not ever. And that's sad.
I mean, you having kids, like, that's fine, but
yeah, that's sad.
Bat baseball.
Yeah,
not really.
Batter up. I get it.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
You know what else that you can get is an indie news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on Indie News Injection, the first thing we're going to be talking about is for all you devs out there. It is the Independent Games Festival, the 19th annual, as a matter of fact. They are now allowing submissions to get your game into the festival and therefore a chance to win awards if you think your game stands a chance in the competition, in the festival. So basically, some information on it. If you don't know any Independent Games Festival, which is a subsidiary, by the way, of is it Gamasutra or is it vice versa? But they're involved with each other. It's open to all independent game devs all around the world, but you do have to pay if you're a student and you're able to prove it. You can pay $25 for the entry fee. However, otherwise you have to pay $75 to get in. And the deadline to get your game entered is October 24th, so get on that. There's a bunch of different prizes. There's the Audience Award, Best Student Game. Those are $3,000 prizes. Nuovo Award, which is like the Best Experimental Game, which is $5,000. Excellence in Narrative is $3,000. Excellence in Design is $3,000. Excellence in Audio, Excellence in Visual Art, both $3,000. And then finally, the big sucker, the Seamus McNally Grand Prize for $30,000. That is the top game of the festival. Link for can you give link to the chat?
Yes,
please?
I can. And by the way, it's they're related to Gamasutra because the same parent company owns both of them.
Yeah, that one.
So they're not very indie.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but and I think they also run Indiecade, I believe.
They might.
I think. I'm not sure. But anyway. So that's what's happening there. Basically how it works is you have until the 24th to enter, and then they'll dig through all the submissions. They get thousands and thousands. And then in early January 2017 of this year, or this time, that's when they're going to announce the finalists for all the award. We'll probably cover that then. The GDC, which is also involved with IGF, they usually do the IGF awards, and then GDC does their own awards later after that. All this stuff will be announced on March 1st, I believe. I think is the case.
Awesome.
So go check that out. Submit your games. Good times all around.
Yes. Speaking about checking out games, a lot of people have checked out No Man's Sky, which just released. it says on the notes that it went gold and is now ready to ship, but it's already out and people have played it, and people seem to like it for the most part. Something that some people don't like about it is that it could have possibly used what country am I from? Used a stolen or patented algorithm to generate. Sorry, I was trying to find the right word.
They call it a super formula.
Yeah, the super formula to create the whole universe in No Man's Sky, and a company is claiming that that Sean Murray used that formula in No Man's Sky. And they have, there's some speculation of him, acknowledging it at some point, and they haven't really talked a whole lot about it. They haven't made too many comments about it, but I mean, it is happening again. I guess if you don't have a very big legal team and you are going to become millionaires making a game, be prepared for people to want to take that away from you.
At this point, I think they can both afford it, but. How basically what it is that the company in question is a Dutch company called JaShinYa, and I guess there's been a couple of documented moments where Sean Murray's been involved with JaShinYa in some way,
right.
But he even said in an interview about the super formula from them. But he claims that he didn't use their super formula, that he came up with his own. I don't know how likely that is, because...
Well, see, you also have to consider, like, how much does he have to change before that patent no longer counts?
Yeah.
Like really, we could be talking... The way that, like, law works, like, we could be talking very minor things that... that cause issues or will never cause an issue, and I guess just wait and see.
I don't know.
This has been going on for a bit, so
yeah, I don't know how likely it is that it's just happenstance, and I don't know how to legally determine that.
Oh, but we won't be able to.
Yeah, I mean, for the courts to determine that. But,
yeah.
At least the company JaShinYa is being pretty civil about it. They're like, hey, we don't want to like fuck up the launch of the game or anything, but if this is our thing, we kind of deserve money, which I understand actually.
And it is kind of nice that this hasn't been too much in the news. Like, oh my God, this is the biggest thing happening to this big company. Let's get some ad revenue by generating clicks for this crazy article about this game that everybody is super hyped about.
Yeah.
It's kind of good that it's sort of like under the radar, or at least people aren't really caring, because I mean, that's sort of like their business to deal with, and it shouldn't affect the game at all. It'll just affect the updates in the games that Hello Games might put out in the future, if it's found out that they used this formula. But I mean, I'm kind of No Man's Sky'd out. You know?
Again, that's not their fault, but I mean, that's for a completely different discussion.
Exactly.
So anyway, good luck to both. Hope it doesn't screw anyone up, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what else is screwed up, though?
When games that we talk about coming out might not come out as quickly as talked about.
Actually, postponed games, because No Man's Sky was postponed.
Yeah.
But Outlast 2 has been postponed, if you have not heard about that. Unfortunately, because it was supposed to come out October for Halloween time. Who knows what the issues are, but basically they're saying that they want to make it the best game as possible, which is understandable. No one wants a shitty game, just to come out early.
Yep.
So, but right now they're planning on putting Outlast 2 in the first quarter of next year. So that's, it's January through March, I think, is the first quarter.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about financial quarters, and then in that case I think that's like July. But anyway,
yeah,
business talk. The main point is that Outlast 2 is being postponed, unfortunately, but it looks great in the sense that it will fuck you up.
Yeah,
because that
definitely.
demo certainly fucked me up. You know what else is not fucked up?
the fact that Humble Bundle and Humble have stepped up their fraud detection as well as dealing with possible fraud. They, with all this G2A stuff coming out and a lot of devs being like, hey, look, this was a problem. G2A really screwed me over with funding and illegitimate keys and all that stuff. They're adding a sort of two-factor authentication where if you if the transaction that you're placing looks not quite right to them or it triggers a thing, it'll be like, hey, we just need to get a text verification from this, or it'll just be sent to our a person, and then the person will look into it and see if it's actually fraud. The text message thing really helps out because that one, somebody isn't using a stolen card or a stolen account or something like that.
It bothers me though. I mean, not that I buy stuff from G2A or anything like that, but it bothers me though because for instance, Steam screws me when it comes to trading things because I don't have a cell phone. So I get screwed just because, and I get why they do it, but because it's kind of a necessary evil, but still.
But I feel like if the transaction over the phone looks bad, it goes to manual review, and I feel like after a manual review, if you're like, look, it's me, I know it's annoying to go through that, but if it means that millions of transactions a year don't steal money from devs.
Yeah, I know. I know it's a necessary evil. It's just I'm in the vast minority in that. So I mean, it just sucks. But I'm glad that people are finally taking steps, and this is not even necessary on their part as far as covering their own ass.
I feel like,
or because they're not responsible for this,
right? But what this is only a good move, unless they fail at it.
You have to think about the fact that Humble had to put in money and resources and time and energy, that sort of stuff into it.
But then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this company that has been is in a way stealing codes that were sold or stolen from our platform. How do we fix this problem? And they actually were like, we're going to fix this problem. They acknowledged that it's a problem and they fixed it, or at least they're doing their part to fix it. And I think that'll, if nothing else, it'll send a message.
Yeah, and I mean G2A through pressure has done a little bit of something, as we've talked about. I forget how long ago we talked about it, but it still needs more and more regulation, I guess you could call it. But it's a start. So good on you. Kudos to Humble for helping out the community.
Definitely.
Another one that Indie Game Stand was another one that was helping out with that. What was the thing called? I can't remember now. Again, we talked about it a while ago, but Indie Game Stand had something where they were also helping out with stolen keys and things like that. So,
yeah, I remember talking. I can't remember the details on it.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? We didn't really have a discussion point this week.
Yeah, but I mean, Rev isn't here, and we're just getting back into the swing of things, so I don't really. I mean, if you have any ideas, if you're listening to this recorded version on YouTube, if you have any ideas for cool discussion points, if you made it this far and you want to hear us talk about certain things, leave them in the comments down below. Usually it's got to be a little topical. I mean, we're not going to talk about. I mean, we could talk about old things. We have done that in the past, but I mean, if you have any ideas, let us know. Otherwise, while you're doing that, we're going to go into a quick break and come back with starting the riot.
This week on Starting the Riot, we are talking about a game that's been out for a little while, but because we're behind, we're just not talking about it here. But nevertheless, it is an excellent game, and it's called Inside.
Yes.
Inside is by Playdead Games. They are the developers of I would call it a modern classic for indie games. Because one of the things I was thinking about doing for Indie Game Riot is maybe starting because you know how we have a Hall of Fame on our site?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about actually doing... It'd be cool if it turned into like the official Hall of Fame of of indie games. Because I mean, you know, like some ones that would probably instantly be in there: Super Meat Boy, Castle Crashers, Braid, you know, that sort of
Binding
stuff.
of Isaac, you know.
So, and I think Limbo would be one of those that would probably
definitely
make it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, with as good as Limbo was, inside is Limbo in gameplay plus longer story plus more mechanics plus deeper puzzles.
That's how you do it.
Than Limbo. Also
looks a lot better.
Yeah, a little bit more detailed than just a silhouette. However, when I say detailed, the characters don't have faces. I think that is on purpose, though, because of it's like a commentary. I think a bit. I haven't gone through the whole story yet. So I'm still in the what the fuck is happening kind of deal right now with this game. So, but from what I can gather, it's some sort of dystopia type of thing. People are being used almost as, if I had to guess, almost as cattle. They're being mind controlled, and you're playing as a boy who has escaped and is running. That's as far as I really know about the story. There's some other things that happen without spoiling anything that don't answer shit. They just give you more questions.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on. However, speaking of mind control, I will say probably one of the cooler mechanics in this game is that there's this like helmet that you can come across every so often that you can suck your head into, and you can control all the other people that have already been mind controlled.
Cool.
And that helps you solve puzzles.
I get it.
There's also a lot more back and forth in this game in certain areas.
Yeah. Like we're seeing right now.
This is my gameplay, by the way. I just was an idiot and did not figure it out right away. That's why I'm going back and forth. You're not supposed to. But there are other areas where you are supposed to go back and forth to solve the puzzle. Limbo was not like that. It was pretty strict.
Yeah.
You know, just keep going.
Solve a puzzle, get to the next place. Solve a puzzle, get to the next place.
A lot of timed puzzles, and there's a lot of timed puzzles in this as well. And here's me checking if I missed any controls, and there I was like, oh, there's a grab function. And I figure it out from here, as you can see, by pushing over the fridge.
And you can see the controls. They're very simple.
Yeah, 3 buttons.
So anyone can play. Yeah.
So it's a really good time. So like, if you're a fan of Limbo, if you're a fan of puzzle platformers, this is your game. I'm not that good at puzzle platformers. However, I am doing all right with this game. And when you figure out what you're supposed to do, and it's not super challenging, but it's still very satisfying. Cool, unless I'm just an idiot and I'm like overly proud of myself.
You know what's really weird is that this game is sort of hitting this weird thing for me with like how they've made the terrain like look and feel and how it interacts with the character. It really feels like places I've been. Like, have you ever like gone adventuring through the woods? You know, like when you were like in high school or something, and there's like a hill, and you try to go down the hill, but it's way steeper than you expected. You have to like climb your way back out.
Yes.
Yeah, this game makes me feel like that.
Yeah, I could see that. But you're not really running for your life in that.
Oh, right, exactly.
Because you can see people
it's
here.
More just like how the world.
So right now, like in this scene, they're hunting for him. They spot him with the flashlight right there, and they send dogs after him. And by the way, just like Limbo, the deaths in this are pretty brutal. And I've been killed by dogs in other scenes, and they like rip your throat out. There's other times where you just fall and break your bones. Wow. You can get smashed, sliced. There's another part where you come across like this little girl. I'm not going to go into it too much, but she ends up eating your face.
Great.
Or strangling you. I can't really tell, but it looks like she's eating your face. you get blown apart. You know, and you know, you're just like this little kid. You're like 10 years old or something. I don't know. It doesn't really say, but that's what I would guess.
What if this was a roguelike? They made it a roguelike, so every single time you die, you have to start over.
That would suck. That would suck so bad. Actually,
yeah,
talking about
be like a different kid.
We were talking before we started the segment. We were talking about how there's like good checkpoint system, and this one has a pretty good one. I have never been like, oh, all the way back here. I've been like, oh, pleasantly surprised where I started after dying. There are a couple times where the puzzles are very environmental, where you just have to realize, you have to look around and be like, oh, I could probably use that to my advantage, as opposed to, you know, like figuring out some sort of weird number patterns or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So I think that's, for someone like me who's not good at puzzles, I think that's probably the best kind of puzzle for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're not good at puzzles or platformers, you shouldn't really have to worry about it too much, because it's not high level. You know, it's heavily narrative, so, you know, and if you die, it's not a huge disadvantage to you.
Right. I'm just watching this gameplay, like it's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's really scary.
Jesse in the chat mentioned how the animations are really nice, and they are really fluid in this. One thing I really liked about Limbo, and even more so in this, is and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons did this pretty well too. Where you start at the beginning, and you just go through the story and you go through the world, and it's completely seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Although Brothers technically, I think, did have loading scenes, but you couldn't really tell that they were loading, like going into the next area. But this is even more seamless than that. Like, you're literally just going, and there's no like, it's. When I play games, I see it as a journey a lot of times, you know. So having that seamlessness is, I start to think back. I'm like, oh man, I remember when I was there, and now I'm all the way here, and I didn't even notice like the progress until I stopped to think about it. You know, it's just it's really cool and epic in that way for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Limbo did. I mean, these guys obviously know what they're doing.
By now,
it's really cool. It's a very nice looking game.
Do you mind looking it up on Steam and
getting
of course information?
Yeah, so I can't believe I totally forgot about that. All right.
This kid in this game is like a freaking action hero. Like he takes a beating like no one's business, and he's strong and like fast, but he can't like hold his breath for his life. Like, he has the shortest lung capacity. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
So don't.
So it's $19.99 on Steam, Windows only. But it does have Steam Cloud, so if you want to pick it up if you have like a laptop or something that you want to bring to like work or something and play the rest of the game, Limbo works with that really well. This game works like that really well. People like this game. It's very it's been lots of awards. IGN gave it a 10.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Game Informer gave it platinum. Editor's Choice for PC Mag. Bunch of stuff. They won the Game Critics Award at E3.
Cool. I didn't know they won all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is probably going to win some awards because it's pretty good?
The game that is pretty much, I'm going to just say it's pretty much done. But
pretty much,
it still is in the Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
Every once in a while, a game comes along that I didn't know that I really wanted to play. The last time a game... No, for real. The last time a game that fit that description came out, it was called Chroma Squad.
Oh.
This game is CrossCode. And it's a game that I never thought I would ever want to play. If I had looked at this game, I would have been like, that's kind of neat, and then passed it along. Don't pass this game up. It's actually very fun. Because it is Peep Show, it is in early access. I said before the break that they were pretty much almost done. I must have gotten that mixed up with another game.
Dumbass.
This has been on the list for a while, and I've really wanted to talk about it. They are still finishing up a lot of the areas in the game, some of the maps. They have a bunch of people working on it. The areas that you explore in this game, some of them are absolutely huge.
I wonder if they used RPG Maker and then
they didn't. I don't think they did.
Because I mean, if they did, they are an RPG Maker master.
It is far too tight.
The animations are really fluid.
So not only are the animations really fluid, but it's
real time too, which is interesting.
Oh, real time. The amount of trick shots that you have to pull off is amazing. Like during the tutorial is and the few missions after you get out of the tutorial are so good because you really get a feel for the pace of this combat, and it is fast as fuck. Let me just tell you. Maybe not like for some super experienced, like, oh, you know, I play all the fastest games, but it's like I really like those crazy fast-paced games, and this one's like just barely pushing the limit of like it's a little bit too crazy.
It's just interesting to me though.
Sometimes
it's just interesting with like the aesthetic of it, and then seeing it play like
great.
Like I'm trying to think of a game to compare it to as far as like the fluid combat goes.
Bastion is the only one that I can like vaguely think, but like even still, I think this combat's better than the combat that Bastion had.
Yeah, Bastion was more
a little
simple.
hacky slash.
Yeah, Bastion's more
this
simple.
This is a very. I will say that there are some things that I personally don't like.
Okay.
About the combat system, the biggest. Okay, I think one of my only gripes about this is that you have two main different attacks. Which is like an up-close sword where you swipe things, and then you can shoot a ball of energy, or it's like a disc, or you can charge it up and do like a big one, sort of like Mega Man, or Samus. The thing is that they're the same button, and it's relying on where your mouse like is on the screen as to whether you shoot or if you swing. And sometimes I thought I was shooting, and then I was swinging, and then I thought I was swinging, but I wasn't close enough, and so I put off a little shot, and it threw off my time, and I was like, well, that maybe it's a me thing, but and the jumping is a little weird. The perspective is a little weird sometimes, with how things are like up and down, like in depth, because it is a 2D game, but it's pretty easy to pick up. The puzzles are absolutely great. They really are. The combat is great. It's a very good mix.
Wait, you're playing with keyboard and mouse doing this?
Yep, I am.
Why not a gamepad?
It's because I don't gamepad. I mean, always.
Some games,
why would I?
Are better with gamepad.
Why would I? Yeah, but like, why would I pick like a really like tight shooting game to play on a gamepad? Like this game plays very well on the mouse and keyboard. It really does.
Well,
it plays.
Do you
pretty
think that
good.
Well, don't you think that could like be the reason that for those problems that you're having?
So I guarantee that if I play with a gamepad, I won't hit shit.
I mean, I know gamepad is slower.
Well, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks with this particular game. I feel because
some use
I'm
vacuums,
like looking at it and playing it with a keyboard and mouse. I'm like, I totally see it's built for both. It doesn't feel like I need a controller. It also doesn't feel like if I had a gamepad, I would be getting like a worse experience. I think they did a really good job of really balancing it out. But I like the way it controls mouse and keyboard. It's a bit different. It's a different sort of game. I'm not used to this sort of game. It's almost like a twin stick, but it's not really. It's very fun. The writing is really, really great. The level design is very fun. Its timing is really good. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like getting a lot of the clips and conversations between things happening
But
in the world that you're in.
You mentioned it being like almost twin sticky, and in that case, wouldn't a controller be better? I mean, it's just...
Well, I mean, if you like playing twin sticks with controllers, you'll probably like this game a lot because shooting and moving at the same time.
I'm actually not a fan of twin sticks.
I like twin
part
sticks.
of this game
I like twin sticks when I can use a keyboard and mouse.
The part of this game that I like is the RPG aspect of it.
Oh yeah,
and again, you mentioned the writing, but
very detailed RPG aspect.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just reading up on their new updates, and it's just like, hey, because everybody loves it, we added another menu. And I'm like, there are already a lot of menus in this game, but I understand why you need one.
Well, is it? I mean, I was gonna say, is it? Are the menus like? Do they bog
necessary?
You down? Because like how there's games like.
What's really funny is that like actually I didn't even think about the menus being clunky until they were like, oh look, it's another menu, and I'm like, that's actually a lot of menus, but I never really noticed.
Belrog in the chat wants to know what you thought of the quest system and leveling aspect.
Quest system leveling aspect. Leveling was actually pretty great. I liked the pace that it was. I didn't really... I never really cared about my level. Like, I was just sort of like, I'm just going to make the levels that I am. I'm going to play the game, and I'm just going to have fun. And anything that, like, came in my way, I'd just be like, yeah, I totally want to do that, and I want to do that right. Mm. It's one of those... It's less questy and more, hey, here's a puzzle, try and solve it. It gives you some like incentive with like the story and your interactions with the different characters and like what you should really do, but it doesn't force you down a hole, especially right from the start. Like, this is one of the most open tutorials, really, because at some point there's a hallway where you learn stuff, but then it's like, all right, cool, so here's the thing, go explore. Oh, really? Okay, cool. And then the tutorial like picks up afterwards, but you can play around. The joke is that your communicator is broken because for some reason, and you can't actually like speak at all, and you can slowly start learning words. So eventually you learn hi, and then you can go up to people and be like hi, and that's all you can say. And then like that's almost. The only thing that I have in my head when that happens is like I can just like do facial expressions and like move my arms around, but I guess we should also probably mention the story. The story is, without spoiling anything, you play an individual within a video game, but like it's one of those sort of like VR, you live in this game sort of game.
Sword Art Online.
And it's an MMO. Yeah, Sword Art Online, perfect. It's an MMO, but it's not really. Which is kind of weird. It kind of threw me off. I'm like, I don't really like MMOs, and I was like, it's not really an MMO. It's
that'd be kind of meta if they turn this into an actual MMO.
Yeah, it would be very, very strange. But I mean,
that would be probably terrible, but
cool,
it'd just be weird.
Cool nonetheless. I'm just and so yeah, you're basically like in a video game, and you don't know why you're there, but there's some plot in the beginning that I won't spoil for you. You can currently it is in early access, like we said before, but it is you can pick it up for $19.99 for Windows, Mac, and Steam Play. It is single player. It has full controller support, so if you want to publish or not publish, what am I saying? I'm looking at, if you want to play with a keyboard or a keyboard and mouse or a controller, you can. It's put out by Radical Fish Games, and it's published by Deck 13, which are the people who are also publishing The Other 99 and Obliteracers.
Are they?
They are, yeah.
Shit, I didn't realize
yeah.
Huh. Well, good on you, Deck 13,
liking them,
picking out good
Deck
games.
13,
we'll keep our eye on you.
Yeah, definitely check this game out. It is awesome. The art is great. The writing, I thought it was fun writing. It's really come a long way.
I wonder how much more to go,
released. Though. Well, it was released in 2015.
For
May of 2015.
In early access, you mean?
In early access,
yeah.
Yes. They seem to be getting actually a lot done. They try to keep updates on their website every week.
But I mean, like, is it like beatable or?
I don't think it's beatable, but it's definitely like super playable. Like when you play this game, it doesn't feel like a beta. It doesn't feel like things are missing. I mean, until you get like far enough, like you will start to be like, okay, things are seeming a little bit rougher than what they were in the beginning, but it is definitely playable. Super, super playable. Okay. Very fun. Like I said, when I first played this game, I was like, this is a really fun game. Oh, it's in early access? Oh, that's really weird. What are they doing to it?
Yeah, so, I mean, just keep our eye on it. And
yeah, definitely.
So when we always tell people to keep kind of do their due diligence and stuff like that. So if you're not someone who wants to play a game that isn't finished, obviously, then don't go buy the game. However, if you're someone who likes to support the devs through their development, give feedback, that sort of stuff, I think this is a game to at least consider doing that for. You know what else we should consider?
We should also consider that we could keep costs down by only playing free games.
Probably. Free fun. This week on Free Fun, we have another fantastic game by the company named Crows. If you don't know them, they are the people that made Dr. Langeskov, a.k.a. the one half, I think, of the people that made the Stanley Parable. And they made this company, and they're just apparently making free games right now. Excuse me, Gatorade.
They're like, we made so much money off of Stanley Parable, we can afford to release free shit for a year.
Probably. These guys have a tremendous sense of humor and fantastic writing abilities. This time, the game that they made is actually a Twine game called The Temple of No. So here's gameplay of a Twine game, because, hey. What's cool about this, though, is that, I mean, first of all, we mentioned it's by Crows, a.k.a. the people that made the Stanley Parable. And these are people who have proven their writing abilities and their humor and put that into a Twine game. So this is probably, I don't think it's a reach to say that this is probably the best Twine game out there. Is that too much of a stretch?
I haven't really played it a whole lot.
Okay.
So I don't know, but
it also adds in fantastic black and white art, and the
art is super, super good, and it really fits because with Twine games, I feel like a lot of people try to make a Twine game and then they make it a little bit too like real to life because they're trying to make like a normal game.
Yeah.
But I feel like they really captured the essence of what a Twine game could be with how they lay everything out. And that's really.
And if you don't know if you don't know about Twine games, it's basically putting it in an interactive form, a choose your own adventure. And you just saw the person choose what character they're going to be. They chose a bloke, a lady, a bloke, or I think it was a frog, for some reason. So, and here's their even like little almost like disclaimer that's actually part of the game. And to give you another sense of their sense of humor, Tech, right before we started the segment, was checking it out some more. And it's like, are you ready to play this game? Yes or no? And he chose no, and it took him to Google.
Yeah, just straight up opens a new tab. It's like, hey, it's Google.
That's it.
Come back when you want to play the game.
Yeah. Otherwise, enjoy your porn.
For you. Yeah.
So... I don't read this, by the way, if you don't want to get spoiled. But this is the game.
It's pretty easy not to read things. Yeah. Just scroll down and listen to our beautiful voices.
So, what I was mentioning about the art, it really reminds me a lot of some like the older, I want to say YA novels, like the art style, not even YA, even younger than that. It's like, and it's weird because it's mixed with adult language and story and things like that.
Yeah.
So it brings me back while not patronizing me.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's hard to really talk about too much about a Twine game, but
other than it's a Twine game, go play it.
Oh God. They just brought up Depression Quest in the game. I saw that right there.
Oh, jeez. Haha, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, I just really... The fact that it's made by these guys, and we've never featured a Twine game before, I thought it would be worthwhile bringing up and for all of you to enjoy for free, by the way. It's on Itch.io. The link will be in the description of the recorded version. If anyone in the live chat wants it, Tech will send it to you. Just ask. And you know what else no one's asking for right now? Except
is
for maybe our
the end of the
bodies.
show.
The end of the show. That's right, sir. The end of the show is happening, and thank you all so much for sticking around. First of all, if you like what we do, you want to see more, you want to help us grow, you want to help us reach our goals, please consider backing us on Patreon. It is patreon.com/IndieGameRiot. $1 more per month helps out a lot, and the next goal will guarantee that we're able to get a game to give away each week. The Starting the Riot game specifically to give away each week, so we can give back to all of you as well for helping us out. The other thing is that you can do to help out is by contacting us and letting us know about games to check out, news to check out, people to interview, all that sort of stuff. You can do that by going to our live show every Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chat with us directly in the chat on the side of the stream, or you can go to Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast, and of course, email contact at IndieGameRiot.com. All this and more is on IndieGameRiot.com.
Yes.
Any last words, gentlemen? Gentleman.
I don't know. It feels really good to be back in the swing of things, though.
Yeah, even without Rev. Fuck your job, Rev.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it right
But he'll
in the
be
ass.
back, and we'll be talking about some awesome games. We'll get caught up. I know this episode was a little late to the party on some stuff, but
Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit of a lull, so we can get caught up on games that we wanted to cover. But we're gonna get through it. We are caught up on news now officially. We just decided to cram it all in there. Part of the other reason, probably good we didn't do a discussion point because that would take forever.
Exactly.
Oh.
But for real, also, I mean, I don't know. If you've listened to this far, just remember to, if you listen to all the shows, you'll probably hear more details about the secret projects that Josh and I are working on. So if those interest you, make sure to show up to the live show.
Yeah, talk with us in between segments. That's really what you come for. It's just our stupidity.
Yes.
All right. Well, say your goodbye.
See you next time, guys.
Doodle.